We looked at our exposure and our underdog best ball drafts, and these are 5 players that we cannot stop drafting. These are common denominators between all of our exposure rates, limits, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't think of the word in time. Do us a huge favor. Make sure you like the video. Like on 3, 1, 2, 3. Nathan, you were late. No,
I was
you
not.
both were late. Yeah, you were.
No,
I gave you 3 seconds to do it.
At least I did 2 thumbs up as opposed to your 1.
Nathan, no excuses.
Make sure you're in timeout. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We've got fantasy football content and jokes coming your way. That wasn't really a joke. It wasn't funny at all. And make sure you head over to flockfantasy.com. Use code DOMAIN. You get 30% off. Get your team video review graded by us. You get access to our listener league. You get articles, rankings, etc. So make sure you're over to flockfantasy.com/domain. Use our code. You'll want to do it. All right, 5 players. We can't stop drafting, literally. And I figured there would be some overlap between the players that we draft the most of, but my goodness, Simon sent me his, and I was like, oh,
we had like 7 or 8 of the same players in our first page.
So,
it's adorable.
Yeah, it's real cute, not gonna lie. But you've got the first one.
All right, starting off here, we have Dalton Schultz. And Schultz is a player we own so much of because he's going so late, and all of you can draft him too. Here's why. Dalton Schultz, over the last 3 years, has had 89 targets, 104, and 89 again. He has been 9th and 5th in fantasy points per game over the last 2 seasons as a starter. And with Dak Prescott, he's been, obviously, we've all seen it, he's been a very usable tight end, especially in fantasy. When you're talking best ball, he puts up very good numbers. So when you're getting him as the tight end 14 overall, in a league that's half PPR, no tight end premium, if we're talking best ball drafts, Dalton Schultz offers a lot of upside. If we dive a little bit further into this, CJ Stroud is the quarterback in Houston. What we always say with tight ends is tight ends are rookie QB's best friend. It's something, I mean, even people in the league will say this. Because it is so easy for a tight end to get open underneath in the seams and especially in zone coverage. CJ Stroud is going to have one real veteran to throw to in that offense because it's not going to be Nico Collins. It's not going to be John Mechie. It's not going to be Tank Dell. It's not going to be Dameon Pierce. So who's it going to be? It's going to be Dalton Schultz, who's going into his 6th year in the NFL. Over the last 2 or 3 seasons, he's been that safety belt for Dak Prescott, and he's going to do the same thing for CJ Stroud next year. Mark our words.
Yeah, absolutely. The next guy that we just cannot get enough of is going to be Josh Downs. And you did a little bit of research on Josh Downs. What's the height threshold on the query that you ran?
No height, just weight.
What was the weight?
180 pounds. So
of
slot receivers specifically is what we were
So
targeting.
we looked into slot receivers, and we looked into specifically smaller slot receivers, and like you said, under 180 pounds. Of the 8 receivers to average 8 points per game in half PPR leagues since 2000.
As a rookie,
as that small of a player, 7 of them have been in the past 4 years. What does that tell you? It means that smaller slot receivers can come in and translate their skill set to the NFL despite them being undersized. This is going to be no exception for Josh Downs. We've talked about Josh Downs a lot. Obviously, we are completely 100% biased Colts fans. No, we're not biased Colts fans. And the thing about Josh Downs, when you're drafting him, when we're all drafting him, I'm getting him in the last round every time. Like, legit half the time I'm taking Josh Downs.
He's going undrafted quite often. I think wide receiver 91, right?
Yep, I think that's right. I don't see why we're not taking more shots on Josh Downs collectively as a community, because I mean, a lot of people, and I've said this, a lot of people and some teams had a first round grade on Josh Downs. He obviously slipped in the draft, and there's going to be a reason for that. And look, while he was drafted in the 3rd round, and the metrics and the odds for 3rd round receivers is not near as good as 2nd or 1st round wide receivers, we still believe in Josh Downs mostly because of his situation. I mean, not only is he good at a lot of things, he's good at working in the middle of the field, he's good at working out of the slot, he's also good vertically, and he also tracks the ball very well. So, it is a new era for undersized slot wide receivers in the NFL. And without a dominant alpha receiver in that offense, because Michael Pittman, really not a true one. He is a 2. When you look at how he plays.
Very good NFL wide receiver.
Very good NFL wide receiver, not a 1. Josh Downs, also not a 1. But when you're considering both of those things, you have to at least consider the fact that Anthony Richardson probably going to spread the ball around a little bit more, probably going to share the love. I think Josh Downs is going to earn targets this year. Their targets are obviously earned, and I think Josh Downs playing alongside big bodies like Michael Pittman, like Alec Pierce, who also should not be forgotten about Alec Pierce. I think Josh Downs is going to flourish in that offense. I think Shane Steichen's going to be creative in how he uses Josh Downs. I think Jim Bob Cooter's also going to be creative in how they draw up plays for Josh Downs. What, you got some?
Yeah, I mean, finish off.
Go ahead.
Well, okay, so people are going to say we're biased here, and yes, there might be some bias, but what I want to pull with this, we watched the Colts card, is last year, Paris Campbell was schemed up a lot by the Colts. Whenever we needed gadget play, it was Paris Campbell. Who's that going to be this year? Well, in the beginning of the year, likely Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Towards the end of the year, it's going to be Josh Downs, and that's when it matters who you have. And when you're looking at best ball drafts, it doesn't matter if Josh Downs is competing week 1 and if he's going to give you 10 points week 1 or 15 or 20. By the end of the season, he's going to be schemed into the Colts offense, and he's a very special, dynamic player.
Another thing that I don't think is really spoken of enough when it comes to Josh Downs' college production is his catch rate. Guys, his junior year, he had a 78.3% catch rate. That is like unbelievable.
High.
And that's not
on all targets. That's not
all
counting
targets.
Inaccuracy.
Correct. And that does not mean, it does. It is a testament to him as a talent and as a receiver, but I think more than anything that shows the quality of targets that he's getting in an offense which is easy targets for an inexperienced quarterback who's the most athletic quarterback we've ever seen step on the field from a measurable perspective, but very, very underdeveloped as a passer. What kind of passes do you think he's going to be making his rookie season?
Yeah.
The easy ones.
Yes.
Josh Downs.
And when you look at league winners, when you look at guys with an above average league win rate, these are going to be not guys that are drafted early in these best ball drafts. It's going to be later guys. And a lot of times it's going to be rookies. And a lot of times it's going to be rookie wide receivers. So when we're going through and trying to identify who these league winners could be, Josh Downs, from a talent standpoint, from a situational standpoint, he stands out. Shane Steichen, when he's on the Eagles, ran tons of 3 wide receiver sets. He's going to continue to do that on the Colts, which means Josh Downs is absolutely going to be on the field a lot, and his talent will lead him to some fantasy production this year. We are sure of it, and you've got the next guy on this list.
Yeah, so our next guy that we've got here is Naji Harris. We have talked about Naji Harris plenty, and I continually think it's just hilarious and ironic that we have gone from being very anti-Naji Harris during the season last year to now one of some of the biggest Naji Harris stands in fantasy, specifically because he has just fallen way too far.
Yep.
I mean, going in one of the most recent underdog drafts that we've done at the 3-9 around guys like in non-tight end premium, Mark Andrews, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper, Travis Etienne, like, oh my goodness.
I hate that
Najee
range
Harris,
too.
please.
That's
yeah,
funny.
Najee Harris
It's so gross.
is gold in that range. That's who you should be taking. And literally, we can just copy and paste everything that we've said over the last multiple videos about Najee Harris and just say it again.
Yep.
7th in opportunities, 5th in carries, and look, 9th in the league in stuffed runs because his offensive line last season was so horrible. 55th in run block rating. And 2 years ago, being drafted at ADP 18.9, he still had a 25% playoff rate. We're going to give you a number right now. Expect his playoff rate this year, because of his current price, to be at least, and this is being conservative, at least 20%. If his ADP at 18.9 was 25% playoff rate and he's going way below that, what do you think it's going to be this year? Because we're willing to wager that he's going to be a running back 1 again this season quite easily. Pittsburgh uses him better than they ever have, and you saw that at the end of the season last year. We always talk about his game log, improved offensive line. Like, they drafted Darnell Washington for a reason. I think that spoke volumes to how they're going to utilize Najee Harris. I think that speaks volumes to how they're going to run the ball consistently overall. Stop drafting Jaylen Warren. Like, why are we so excited about Jaylen Warren? Why are we like, oh my gosh, this guy has such amazing upside in fantasy. We're just going to take him in the 10th, 11th round and avoid other guys with so much higher upside in that range. Like, what are we doing, guys? It's Najee Harris there all day.
Yeah.
So that's why we've been drafting a lot of him.
Yeah,
there you go.
100% agree, and obviously that's translating between the 3 of us. We're practicing what we preach, too, so you got to at least give us that. Anthony Richardson's going to be the next guy on this list, and I guess I'll be the Colts homer for today. Crap on me in the comments if you want for being a homer. I don't care. I'll have my Colts. But I really do think these guys are being undervalued. We did a stacks video with Michael Pittman and Anthony Richardson on why we thought they were being undervalued. And look, here QB 11 on Underdog is where he's currently going. There's his ADP. And, you know, I think this is even being generous with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is one of 3 quarterbacks that I have drafted more than absolutely any other quarterback by far in Underdog drafts. The 3 of them have been Tua Tagovailoa, Anthony Richardson, and Daniel Jones. A lot of my drafts, I'm walking away with 2 of the 3 of those guys. Anthony Richardson, yes, I am aware that they sent out a sleeper alert that Gardner Minshew might start, whatever. Anthony Richardson's going to play this year, okay? Anthony Richardson has elite upside. again, when you're looking for these league-winning guys, it's going to be these later round dudes. He's going as the QB 11. He's going in like the 9th, 10th round. He's the guy that could have the super duper high league win rate because he's so cheap, but his ceiling is the roof. His ceiling is astronomically high. You're talking about the rushing upside. And look, you can talk about the accuracy concerns. You can talk about the experience concerns. I get it. I can confidently tell you that Shane Steichen is a good enough coach to where he's going to make that offense easy for Anthony Richardson, and he is going to tailor that offense exactly to his skill set. They are not going to put Anthony Richardson out there in his first year to fail because they'll have Jim Irsay breathing down their necks. He'll be like, you got to get Anthony on the field, man. You got to get him on there. It's like, it's not happening. Like, Jim Irsay's a nut. He's a good nut. He's a good owner, but he's a nut. And there's no chance Anthony Richardson doesn't see the field. He is so talented. He's so dynamic. He has such good rushing upside that I can't see him failing.
This is just basic logic to me. Like, yes, Anthony Richardson is not Justin Fields from an athletic perspective. He is literally better. He's better. He's more talented.
With a better coach.
With a better coach.
team.
Guys, Justin Fields last season had 2,200 passing yards in 15 games.
He still
Do
scored
you
20
think
points a
Anthony
game.
Richardson, he still was fifth on a points per game perspective? Do you think Anthony Richardson, as limited of a passer as he could be this season, is capable of throwing for 150 passing yards per game? I mean, talk about setting the bar low. That is like the lowest of the low. And that's what Justin Fields threw
If
last
Justin
year
Fields is the
at
bar, Anthony
QB5.
Richardson's hurtling over it.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm going to put it. These are the top 10 highest rookie seasons ever by a QB. Well, ever since 2000. Deshaun Watson, Cam Newton, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, so he's kind of outlier here. Let's keep going. Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott, Andrew Luck, Daniel Jones, and Kyler Murray.
What do
Sounds
those
like
guys have in
Exception
common?
of Joe Burrow.
All of them
All
run
of
the
those
ball.
guys were incredible rushers of the football when they were younger. I
At least competent.
Even Dak Prescott was very good running the ball when he was younger. All these guys could give you
And
3,
Dak was only
4,
given
500 yards
Exactly.
per season.
Yeah.
AR, he might give you 1,000 as rookie.
I wouldn't go that far.
Bet on.
I said he might, but I mean,
I
you
know.
look at Cam Newton up there at the top.
My
with number 2.
personal prediction is that he rushes for less than what people think he's going to, but it doesn't matter. When
I'm
you
betting
get
over
6
750.
When you get over 600, 750, forget about it. Forget about it. I mean, I don't
We
want to
sound
sound
like such
I don't want to
homers.
sound biased, but I would bet he
We were
throws for,
saying
he
this
throws,
before
he
he
throws
drafted.
for more yards this year than Justin
This
Fields did
isn't
last
biased.
year.
This is a rushing upside thing, and we're being consistent by taking Daniel Jones a lot too, because it's the same sort of thing. Like
got-
that, you know.
You got the last guy on this list.
There we go. We're going to finish this off with another tight end. And Michael Mayer, tight end 30 on Underdog Fantasy right now. Same sort of thing that applies to Josh Downs. When someone is being drafted that low, he's not even being drafted in every league. He has an incredible chance to outperform that. I mean, even if Michael Mayer is only the tight end 20 on the
That's
year,
wild.
that's what you drafted him for.
end
You
30.
drafted him to outperform what he was there. The thing with him, there are no other tight ends in Las Vegas anymore. Darren Waller is gone. Foster Moreau is gone. We obviously hope he gets better from his cancer, he plays for the Saints this year. But let's talk about the two of them last year. 4.8 and 3.7 targets a game between the two of them. So if they were both on the field, let's say it's like six targets a game to the tight ends. Michael Mayer can easily do that. He was a very good tight end prospect coming out of Notre Dame. And even let's look at Greg Dulcich last year. Greg Dulcich last year only had to beat out Albert O. And we all know how amazing Albert O is. But the point is, Michael Mayer is in a wide open offense. He's with Jimmy G, who, we saw what Jimmy G did with George Kittle. And really, we're not asking that much of him. Just outperform tight end 30, and you're going to be really pleased. He's not even being drafted in a majority or in a good percentage of leagues. So that's really our case for Michael Mayer.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And look, obviously, you're not going to want to draft exactly like us. We're going to have our own guys. You could say we live in a bubble. We don't. We try to read other people's stuff. We watch other videos. We do research. We listen to a franchise guy, which he's really good. He's better than any of you. So it really does come down to personal preference. That being said, a lot of these guys are late round guys. That's part of the reason Naji Harris is the highest guy on this list by far. That should say something. A lot of these guys are later round guys that we're taking advantage of. So we think you take advantage of these guys, take flyers on these guys. They have a higher chance of getting you potential leg up in winning your leagues. So do us a huge favor. Make sure you like the video. When you like the video, Helps us out a ton, helps us out more than you could ever know. It's free, it's easy, so make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We are trying to get to 1,000. We are almost there, so please, if you would subscribe, that helps us out so much. We really, really appreciate that. Make sure you head over to flockfantasy.com/domain. When you use our code domain, you get 30% off. And if you choose that Mother Flocker tier, you get a personalized team review video from us. We will review your fantasy team, and you get to get in a listener league. We got best ball leagues, we got dynasty leagues. You're playing with us, so that's also fun. You get all the articles, rankings, etc. Everything you can imagine on that site. So make sure you, like I said, flockfantasy.com/domain. We appreciate you watching. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.